Welcome to the Plan Commission meeting of Tuesday, May 18, 2021. Just keep yourself muted if you're not wanting to speak. The way this works is we introduce the item, report site inspections, and the staff gives us a summary. Then we ask technical questions. The commission asks technical questions. When that's done, we open it up to the public for comment. When that's finished, we close comment from the public and bring it back to the commission for a vote. So call the roll, please.
Okay, Councilmember Ford.
Here.
Mr. Groth. Mr. Kiefer.
Here.
Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Perry. Mr. Stengel.
Here.
Mr. Marshall.
Here.
Mr. Coulibaly. Mr. Coulibaly. He may be having some technical difficulties. We'll give him a minute. Ms. Davy.
Here.
Mr. Hintz.
Present.
Chairwoman Prop.
Here.
Mr. Coulibaly, are you back? So 8 present with Mr. Coulibaly.
Okay, commission, you have the May 4th minutes. What's your pleasure?
Ken's motion to approve.
Second.
Who was the second?
Margie.
Margie, okay. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, call the roll.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Kiefer.
Aye.
Mr. Stengel.
Aye.
Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
Mr. Coulibaly.
Aye. Did you hear
Ms.
me?
Davy.
Aye.
Mr. Hintz.
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye.
Minutes approved 8-0.
First item is a residential design standards variance to allow a front yard setback not consistent with the prevailing building setbacks for a new porch addition at 540 Olson Avenue. Were there any site inspections? I had one. The chair will accept the staff report as part of the record. Staff, go ahead with the summary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So item 1 is a residential design standards variance request. And if you can go to the next slide, please. This is for a new porch addition here. The subject site's outlined in blue there. You can see the immediate surrounding properties are all single family residential. Similar in scale and in character. A lot of them are single story ranch type homes. This aerial shows it a little bit better here. You can see their placements and there's a pretty consistent prevailing front yard setback there we'll address in a minute. Again, pretty much all residential immediately around the subject site. Next slide. So the ordinance in question here, it's the lineup provision in the design standards. The lineup provision, we've seen it a few times before in front of Plan Commission, and it requires that new additions, new houses, etc., fall in line with the prevailing building setback. So what we did was when we looked at this request, we found that the applicant had a few feet to work with before they were going to be encroaching into that setback. The average is 42.2 feet, as you can see in the table that was included on this slide and in your staff reports. But they are going to be going from their current setback of 46 feet to about 40 feet. So, about 2.2 feet in front of that setback. It's very minuscule in nature. it will be hardly noticeable from the street, but we still have to go through this process. It's a 6x11 porch addition. So next slide. There's the existing house. They just did some work on the garage. So you can see the gable on the left side there. That's the current house there as it sits. Next slide. This is what they're proposing. So you can see on top there, an elevation view showing the garage as it was, or as it is currently. And then to the right side of that elevation drawing is the new porch addition there with the gable that's proposed. So it is a covered addition. It's got a gable. It's going to, in our minds and in our opinion, balance the appearance of that house, balance it out with the gable being similar to the gable of the garage already. We think it's going to enhance the architectural appearance of the property. Just want to note that this image here on the screen is actually of another property further to the east on the same street. That one also has this sort of gable end for the porch there. So it's a covered porch with a gable. It's bigger than the one we're looking at with this proposal we're addressing here today. But it is similar in nature. Next slide. So with that, we are recommending approval of the variance request. The applicant did state that they are going to be using matching materials, so same shingles or at least substantially similar in appearance, vinyl to match the existing siding and other house materials. So with that, we recommend approval of this variance request to allow this porch addition into the prevailing setback with the finding and conditions as stated in your staff reports.
Commission, are there any technical questions? Any technical questions? I'm not seeing any.
Looks like Mr. Hintz.
Okay, I can't get up that far. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Kathy. I just wanted to ask staff, because when you're looking at these footages, you see 37.5 feet is the shortest one there. And they must have come, I don't know, did they come through us to get that 37? First question is, did they come through us to get that 37.5 foot setback, or is that how it just was before we had the ordinance?
Yeah, so all of these homes exceed the required setback under the ordinance. They were mostly built prior to any of these ordinances going into effect.
Okay, thanks, Mark. And then I guess my follow-up question would be, would it behoove us or planning staff to possibly look at changing the ordinance so that way, as long as you are within the established or behind the established line, which would be that 37.5 feet, because we're looking at that line, you know, in the 40 feet, and I know they have to come through and do this. That's how the ordinance is now. But when you look at the distances, it's just kind of like, yeah, this is a no-brainer.
So the reason we have it written the way it is, and the reason I would be hesitant to do that is the scale of what we're talking about. If all of the homes were at 15 feet, 12 feet, and you happen to have one at 8 feet, and moving all the new structures up to 8 feet would be a very different impact than when we're talking these are significantly behind the setback, and the perception of actually seeing that 2-foot difference, no one's really going to be able to see. But if it was scaled down significantly, that perceived setback would be quite a bit for changing the character of the neighborhood.
Right, and I understand that. And what is the current setback? I believe you said, was it 15 feet, 20 feet, something like that?
Stephen, is it?
It's SR3 zone, so I'm trying to think.
Give me a second, I'll tell you.
We have the base setback in the ordinance that's, you know, for the zoning district, but then obviously if the prevailing setback is further back, then
25 feet is the current setback requirement.
Okay, maybe okay then, and I'm just throwing this at you guys to give us some thought. Maybe if they all exceed the setback limits, then maybe allow the shorter. I'm just trying to come up with something so we don't have to go through this with other people again. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, any other technical questions? Any other technical questions? If not, we'll open public comment and request a statement from the applicant or representative if they are available. Is the applicant here, Mark?
I do believe the applicant, Mr. Creer,
Yes.
is here. I don't know if he has any comments he would like to add or not.
Okay.
Dan, if you go to the participant list, there you go. You got yourself unmuted.
Yeah, I figured it out. What do you need from me?
Do you have any comments or statement about this?
I don't. He covered everything as far as I was going to.
Okay. Then we'll request additional public comment. Anyone else on the call wishing to speak to this item? Front yard setback at 540 Olson. Anyone else wishing to speak? You see anyone, Mark? I don't.
I do not see anyone. No.
Okay, then we'll close the public comment period. Commission, we need a motion.
Ken's motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Kiefer, second.
Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Kiefer,
Aye.
Mr. Stengel.
Aye.
Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Coulibaly,
Aye.
Ms. Davy,
Aye.
Mr. Ford. Excuse me, Mr. Hintz.
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye. Then we'll move on to item 2, public hearing, conditional use permit request to allow a roof-mounted small solar energy system at 350 Legion Place. Any site inspections? I had one. The chair will accept the staff report as part of the record. Staff, go ahead with your summary.
Thank you. This is a CUP request for a rooftop or roof-mounted solar panels at the subject site. So small solar energy systems are considered an accessory use and require a conditional use permit in all zoning districts. The subject site is located on the east side of Legion Place. Also has shore frontage on Lake Winnebago. Surrounding uses are all single-family uses, and there's also the waters to the north across Winnebago Ave. Here's an aerial view of the subject site. So the applicant is proposing to place solar panels on the south portion of the roof on the subject site. Next slide, please. So here's a view of where they will be placing those solar panels. They will be mounted 3 to 4 inches off the roof surface, and it'll include 18 black solar panels. Next slide, please. And just kind of a view of where the panels will be placed. Again, facing towards the south to capture the most sunlight, and also it will not be directed towards the street or waterfront. So staff really does not see any concerns based on the placement, as it should not have any negative impacts on any of the surrounding properties. And with that, staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit for installation of a small solar energy system as an accessory use at 350 Legion Place.
Are there technical questions, Commission? Any technical questions? I had one from a sustainability board member who is not our friend Margie, wondering why we have to do this for solar energy systems.
Yep. So right now it is in the zoning ordinance as a conditional use permit. When the ordinance was drafted in 2017, and even today, state law outlines that you can require a conditional use permit. So legally, we are allowed to require CUP for these. That being said, we do have a member of staff along with a volunteer intern who has been researching how our ordinance is kind of compares to the greater Fox Valley area, as well as communities of similar size in Wisconsin. And they will be presenting those findings to SAB and Plan Commission here in June. And once we have those workshops and to discuss kind of how we compare to the surrounding communities, if these bodies feel it's appropriate, they'd be potentially processing a code amendment if that's kind of how the boards wish to go.
Okay, good. Any other technical questions? If not, I'll open the public hearing and request a statement from the applicant if they are present.
My name is Ingrid Nam. I'm the applicant representing Appleton Solar. And the summary is sufficient to me. I don't have anything additional to add.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? This is a public hearing and this is a chance for people to speak on this item. Any other public comment? I don't see any. So we'll close the public hearing. Commission, we need a motion.
Ford, I'll make a motion to adopt the findings as stated in the staff report.
Again, second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, you call the roll.
Councilmember Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Kiefer, Mr. Kiefer, one more try. Mr. Kiefer, are you there? You are still muted, Mr. Kiefer, if you're trying to speak. Mr. Stengel.
Difficulties.
Oh, okay.
Aye. Sorry.
Mr. Stengel,
Aye.
Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Coulibaly.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Good.
Miss Ford or Miss Davy,
Aye.
John, Mr. Hintz,
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0. As you can tell, I look forward to next meeting when I have help doing this finally.
We do too. Item 3, approve a partial land acquisition of 2240 Westtown Avenue. Any site inspections? The chair will accept the staff report as part of the record. Staff, go ahead with your summary.
Thank you. The Oshkosh Department of Public Works is requesting approval of a partial land acquisition located at 2240 Westtown Avenue. The subject site, or the subject area, is developed with stormwater detention pond, which is proposed to be expanded or combined with an existing city-owned basin located to the south within the Westtown Avenue right-of-way. In August of 2016, the Common Council did approve the acquisition of this site. However, the project got sidelined and we thought it'd be prudent to revisit this as faces have changed on Common Council as well as Plan Commission and city staff. The remainder of the property contains a Shell fuel station with car wash and attached McDonald's restaurant. The site is irregular in size, approximately 2.9 acres in size, with triple frontage along Highway 21, North Washburn, and Westtown Avenue. The general surrounding area is exclusively commercial in nature with various retail, restaurants, and service buildings. That's all I had, Mark, for that one. The area proposed for the acquisition, can you go back to the slide, please?
Yes, sorry.
I mean, the site plan. Thanks. It's trapezoidal in shape, approximately 112 feet wide by 130 feet deep, and approximately 0.38 acres in size. As I mentioned, it is the city's plan to expand and increase the size of the city-owned basin located in West Town right-of-way, and this will provide additional stormwater management relief to the area. The engineering division is in the early stages of updating the citywide stormwater management plan. Construction of this basin will aid in the development of the plan and help determine future stormwater mitigation needs in the area. This approval is the first step for the city to acquire the property. The city's required to follow the acquisition process as required by state statute. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the proposed parcel land acquisition of 2240 West Town as requested.
Are there any technical questions, Commission? Mike Ford.
Yeah, what is the timeline on this, seeing as it got tripped up the last time? Just curious.
I would defer that to Mr. Gira. Yeah, Justin is here, right?
Yep. Yeah. So we're looking at moving forward with the land acquisition as soon as we get approvals and pending any setbacks, hopefully construction potentially next year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other technical questions? Seeing none, we'll open it up to public comment. Are there any people in the audience wishing to speak on this item? Anybody wishing to speak? I don't see any. Then we'll close the public comment, and Commission, we need a motion.
This is Kiefer. I'll make a motion to accept the findings and recommendations included in the staff report.
Marshall, second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Councilmember Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Kiefer,
Aye.
Mr. Stengel,
Aye.
Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Kulabali,
Aye.
Ms. Davy,
Aye.
Mr. Hintz,
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, we have another land acquisition, item 4, 616 Grand Street. Were there any site inspections? The chair will accept the staff report as part of the record. Staff, go ahead with the summary.
Thank you. The Department of Public Works is requesting approval to acquire the property located at 616 Grand Street. The property will be utilized to improve stormwater management within the Parkway Avenue watershed. The subject property is an irregular L-shaped lot with frontages on both Grand Street and East Parkway Avenue. The size of the lot is approximately 0.3 acres and is developed with a single-family house fronting on Grand Street. The property also contains accessory residential structures, including a detached garage and parking facilities. Per the city assessor's records, the existing 1,300 square foot two-story house was constructed prior to 1920 and is classified as a farmhouse style of construction. The site is located in the Near East neighborhood area, which was created in 2006. The Near East area was created per recommendations from the 2005 comprehensive plan to improve neighborhood and housing issues and was part of the Great Neighborhoods program. The surrounding area consists of a mix of single and two-family uses, the Canadian National Railroad to the east, and commercial use to the south. The 2040 comprehensive plan identifies this area suitable for light density residential development. Back in 2015, for the preparation of the construction or reconstruction of East Parkway Avenue, the engineering division developed a stormwater management plan for the Parkway Avenue watershed.
that included a basin along the Canadian National Railroad right-of-way located between East Parkway Avenue and East Irving Avenue. Since that time, the city of Oshkosh and the Canadian National have been negotiating to sell some of their property to the city for the construction of the basin. The proposed basin is necessary to reduce flooding in the area and help drain Grand Street. After construction of the basin, Grand Street is scheduled for full reconstruction. The engineering division is, again, as I mentioned with the Westtown acquisition, is in the early stages of updating the citywide stormwater management plan. And this will help determine future stormwater mitigation needs in this area. Again, this is the first step for the city to acquire the property. The city is required to follow the acquisition process as required by state statute. The staff is recommending approval of the property acquisition at 616 Grand Street as requested. And I think I threw in a picture of the house, I believe, too, just for reference. Next slide, please, Mark. Yep, that's the house that is located adjacent to Grand Street.
Are there any technical questions? Any technical questions?
And just for reference, the Public Works Division did send this property owner a separate letter as well ahead of this meeting, just to make sure that they were aware of it.
Okay, are they present, Mark?
I do not know if the property owner is present or not.
Okay. Let's see, I guess we had no more technical questions, so we will open public comment. Is the property owner with us to speak on this issue? Is anyone here to speak on this issue? Evidently not, unless you see someone, Mark.
I do not.
We'll close public comment then. Commission, we need a motion.
Move to adopt finding a recommendation as stated in the staff report.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion? Margie.
I do have just one curiosity question. Is the intention to take down the house for any reason, or is it just that you need to acquire the rest of that property?
We will need to take down the house as the large storm sewer from Grand Street. That'll be where it enters the basin itself, as well as the emergency overflow of the basin is out through this property and into Grand Street.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Kiefer,
Aye.
Mr. Stengel,
Aye.
Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Kulabali,
Aye.
Ms. Davy,
Aye.
Mr. Hintz,
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Item 5, another land acquisition of a portion of the Canadian National Railroad property located between East Parkway and East Irving Avenue. Any site inspections? Had one. The chair will accept the staff report as part of the record. Staff, go ahead with the summary.
Thank you. The Department of Public Works is requesting this third acquisition to acquire a portion of the Canadian National property, which is located between East Parkway Avenue and East Irving Avenue. The subject area is a long, narrow lot, approximately 950 feet long by 115 feet wide, and approximately 2 acres in area. The property is triple fronted with frontages on Parkway, Irving, and technically Broad Street. However, the CN tracks are located between the street and the subject property. The site historically has never been developed, or I've found no evidence of it ever being developed. The city is looking to acquire a portion of the property on the western side with adjacent to the backs of the property along Grand Street. The proposed size of the acquisition is approximately 600 feet long by 85 feet wide, and also includes a 5.5-foot strip which leads down the east side of the L-shaped property that was discussed in item 4. And this is just to provide a little wider access off of East Parkway Avenue. The total size of the acquisition is approximately 1.19 acres in size. Again, this site is in the Near East neighborhood area, as I discussed in the last item. Again, this is part of to improve the stormwater management within the East Parkway Avenue watershed. In looking at the acquisition, staff is of the opinion that the intended use of the property per the comprehensive plan, which is light residential. Staff's opinion of that is residential areas do require stormwater management facilities, and this is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan. With that, again, this is the first step for the city to acquire the property following state statute. With that, staff is recommending approval of the proposed partial property acquisition of the CN Railroad property as requested. Now, I did catch or notice on the staff report, I did not change the recommendation. It just needs to be updated for minutes, Mark. I had 616 Grand Street listed. Yep.
Okay, are there technical questions? Any technical questions? Seeing none, we'll open it to public comment. Any public wishing to speak on this item? Any public wanting to speak on this item? Again, seeing none, we'll close public comment, and commission, we need a motion.
This is Kiefer. I'll make a motion to accept the recommendations and findings in the staff report.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? If not, let's call the roll.
Councilmember Ford,
Aye.
Kiefer,
Aye.
Mr. Stengel,
Aye.
Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Kulabali,
Aye.
Ms. Davy,
Aye.
Mr. Hintz,
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Next item is item 6, partial right-of-way vacation of Wilson Avenue east of Algoma Boulevard. Were there any site inspections? I had one. The chair will accept staff report as part of the record. Staff, go ahead with the summary.
Thank you. TK Commercial Investments is requesting a partial vacation of Wilson Avenue, just east of Algoma Boulevard. The subject vacation is 50 feet wide by approximately 170 feet long. The area of the request involves approximately 7,700 square feet of right-of-way that was dedicated as part of the E.M. Cranes addition to Algoma Park in 1919. Although the right-of-way was dedicated, the street was never physically constructed connecting to Algoma Boulevard. The street segment proposed to be vacated is adjacent to the Northside Bar and Grill to the south. We should be familiar with that site. And a vacant piece of land owned by the petitioner. Currently, the petitioner is proposing a commercial development on the north side and is requesting the vacation to provide additional land area for the development. The right-of-way does contain city facilities, including water main and storm sewer. Sanitary sewer does terminate just to the east of the subject site. If the vacation is approved, the city will continue to have access rights to maintain, replace, or relocate the city facilities, as well as any other private service providers that may have structures within the right-of-way. With the vacation, both adjacent properties will have 25-foot wide by approximately 170-foot long area of land attached to their existing properties. With there being active utilities within the right-of-way, the land area will not be developable with structures other than possibly parking facilities. The vacation is designed to accommodate a future 35-foot radius cul-de-sac bulb, which is shown on the eastern portion. You can keep this one, Mark. On the eastern portion where you see the C1, that's the proposed arc of the curb. If the vacation is approved, the petitioner will submit a certified survey map to dedicate the remainder of the cul-de-sac bulb on the north and south sides of Wilson Avenue. And both property owners have agreed to the proposed dedication. The Department of Public Works reviewed this request and supports the vacation. The likelihood of Wilson Avenue ever connecting to Algoma Boulevard is unlikely due to not being able to meet street intersection separation requirements. There isn't much of a traffic demand need coming out of the neighborhood to the east. And with Algoma Boulevard being part of US Highway 45, we try to keep connections to state highways to a minimum. Staff supports the right-of-way vacation as proposed. With there being no physical street constructed, there will be no impact on traffic. And the right-of-way will provide additional land area needed for the proposed development on the north side of Wilson. So staff is supportive of, or recommends approval of the right-of-way vacation of Wilson Avenue as proposed.
Are there technical questions? Any technical questions? I don't see any. We'll open the public comment then. Is anyone here from the public to speak on this vacation of Wilson Avenue? Part of it?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I own the property at 2020 Wilson Ave that would butt up to the property of TK whatever it is there. Mine would be 2020, 2030 there. I'd be the first house there on the north side. My question is, when they put that cul-de-sac in, is there sidewalk and everything going to be put in my yard and stuff like that? Or how does this work? I guess I'm kind of new to it and I'm just interested in seeing what's happening.
There's sidewalk presently in front of 2020, but not the vacant portion of your lot.
Correct.
Mr. Girock, would sidewalk connection be required through there?
I think at such time as everything develops, the cul-de-sac and everything, we would request that I would go through. Ultimately, it would have to be approved by council to be able to actually install it. It has to be ordered in.
Okay, because my question is my sidewalk doesn't connect to the neighbor to the east. It basically goes from my driveway to the end of my house. So in the history that I've lived here, nobody has ever walked on my sidewalk but me. So I don't get why they would extend that. unless they're gonna go all the way down Wilson Avenue.
Madam Chairperson, this is James Robbie, if I may speak.
Please.
This falls into a similar situation to what we have in several other parts of the community where there are gaps in the sidewalk. And this would be an item that certainly the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee would take up and make a recommendation to council on where they feel gaps need to be filled in the pedestrian circulation plan. So if that were the case, then I would anticipate that the entirety of the block from Hamilton to the west would probably get sidewalk on both sides to kind of close that loop, if that's what the committee chooses to recommend to council.
Yeah, I would agree with Mr. Robbie's comments. It would be unlikely that just a portion of that would be requested to be ordered in. It would likely be the full stretch where any of those gaps are existing.
Okay, and then who would flip the bill for that? Is I as the citizen responsible for the sidewalk through my yard?
That is correct.
Okay, I guess I don't have any more questions.
All right, thank you for asking them. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak on this item? Anybody else wishing to speak? If not, I'll close public comment period. And commission, we need a motion.
Move to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Marshall, second.
Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Kiefer,
Aye.
Mr. Stengel,
Aye.
Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Coulibaly,
Aye.
Miss Davy,
Aye.
Mr. Hintz,
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Is there anything else before we adjourn the meeting, Mark?
Only note I have is at this time we are anticipating back to in-person Plan Commission on June 1st, but I will be sending out some information regarding that in the next couple of days.
Okay, thank you. Then commission, we need a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Jens?
Kiefer, second.
I doubt there's any discussion. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Kiefer,
Aye.
Mr. Stengel,
Aye.
Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Coulibaly,
Aye.
Miss Davy,
Aye.
Mr. Hintz,
Aye.
Chairwoman Prop.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.